Yes, it is a Jaguar X350, and yes, I have driven one of these and reviewed it before, but that was a different car to this one, and this one has a different engine. I like Jags, I like them all, but these are a particularly nice one, I think. They still look like a Jag and still are a Jag. As much as I quite like the new ones, or the newer ones, I mean, a new Jag to me is an XF, which is, what, 17 years old. This looks like a Jag. That one doesn't really. These are a Jag from a point where they wasn't trying to be European. They were still being British, and being British is a good thing when you're British. What's wrong with being British? That's what I say. I like British cars. I like cars that look British, for British people. I'm going to use the word British a bit too often if I'm not careful. Now, bear in mind that this is an everyday car. This, when I say everyday, I mean the chap who owns this car uses it every day. He uses it to commute. So it's not a pristine garage queen example. It's a bit grubby in places, and it's a bit full of his stuff. Regardless of all that, I think the big Jag is a rather handsome fellow indeed. It's so nice to see these ridges along the bonnet, so much detail. Jaguar, that's a cat, and its face is a bit cat-like. In fact, it looks a bit like a surprised kitten. Kittens are actually quite easy to surprise. It's unmistakably Jaguar, isn't it? Such delicate lines, no unnecessary fuss, no pointy, jagged bits everywhere. Plenty of bits, but it's always smooth. It is a big car that manages to be pointy, angular, and smooth all in one go. It's like a party trick. I am often asked, if I didn't have a Rover, what would I have? Well, the answer is clear. It should be a Jaguar. Why haven't I got a Jaguar? I don't understand that. TDVI. That means 2.7 litre diesel V6. That makes it the builder's Jag. Or does it? I don't think it does. I think a builder would have a petrol Jag. The idea of having a diesel engine in a Jag to some may seem awful, but you know, diesel engines aren't what they used to be, are they? And I bet that this is just as refined and just as pokey feeling as its petrol friend. Pity it doesn't have the forward swinging bonnet like they used to have, but never mind that. Here we see a big black lump of plastic, which is indeed an engine, and of course engines don't really look that engine-y, do they? When everything is so full of plastic covers, it does shout out, leave me alone, don't mess with me. If I'm going wrong, go back to the main dealer. I reckon that engine has about over 200 brake horsepower. Inside, of course, we see the full gentleman's package, meaning wood and leather and chrome. I think it's a jolly nice place to be. The only thing I don't really like is that key. It looks like the kind of thing you start a Ford Transit with. As far as I know, it is actually real wood. It's real leather, I can feel that, and its fit and finish is all rather nice. That just looks proper British car, proper Jag, proper car. Dark grey plastics, they're not proper cars. Proper cars for proper men have light coloured, beigey, creamy leather interior to make you feel at home. It's lovely. I love this dashboard. I love this wood. I love this on the, that there looks like a polar bear's tea party. I don't know what, you know, it's, that one looks a bit like a ghost actually. Yeah. Oh, there's seals, I don't know. There could be like seals on a rock. Looks more like a painting than a piece of wood. And that is enough to convince me that it is actually proper walnut. Because if you was making wood, making it look like wood, you wouldn't end up with that there, would you? You'd think, no, it looks too much like a polar bear's tea party. We can't have that. Obviously we have an electric seat here which does all the things without even the ignition on. Quite a lot of buttons there. Yes, an awful lot. What's that one do? Oh, that, right. So many buttons, you're in danger of forgetting where your seat should be. And so I'm not going to mess with that too much. The Jaguar is of course a big car, but it's not massively big on the inside. They made this car a bit more spacious than the previous car, the 308, but it's still, you'd be better off in a Peugeot 308 if you want some space. It has a huge footprint. It's a big car, but small on the inside. It reminds me of a massive polystyrene space boot with a child's foot inside, and you are that child's foot. But there's a lot more to say about this car than that. This is an all aluminium car. Aluminium. The whole lot is aluminium to save weight. In fact, this car is lighter than the smaller Jag of its time, and definitely a lot lighter than the one it replaced. All of that should add up to a bit more driving excitement. Yeah! It's not a gangster car, come on, it's the wrong colour. I was always a bit confused by this badge on the back because it says Jag, cat's face, ooh-ah. I don't particularly think that's good. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, but I just don't. I think it's like a compromise. You want it to say Jaguar across, but you want a button there. Right, let's not get too distracted with that. That doesn't really matter. Hang on, I've almost forgotten something. The doors don't sound quite as heavy clunky as you'd expect, and maybe that's because they are made of aluminium. Just here we have the familiar J-gate automatic, a nice big LCD screen that doesn't look out of place with the rest of the car. Quite nice buttons as well, they all feel rather good. That's a nice wheel on there. These all feel, look, heated seats, as you'd expect, with 3 settings as well. Shall I put it on? I don't really want a warm bottom at the moment. The dashboard there informing me that the driver's door is indeed open, and that is correct. Bung it in reverse, and of course the mirrors dip down for you to make it easier to see the pavement. It's telling me I've not got my seatbelt on, but I know that because I haven't put it on. But I will do in just a minute, don't worry. And off we go on what I presume will be a rather civilized little drive out in the nice big Jag. But what do you know, straight away it's lovely. I love the way it drives, and I'm only going slowly. I'm doing less than 30 miles per hour at the moment. That's enough. Just setting off nice and slow, it's enough to make me really like it. I don't usually come to that conclusion that quickly, but it's just great. It has a feeling almost of the nimbleness of a small car, but with all the big wafting luxury of the big car that it happens to be. It has 18-inch wheels, which of course are fitting for a car of this size, and they don't seem to be making it ride uncomfortably. That feeling of being at home in the car is definitely present with this. Also, it has nearly 190,000 miles, and you just wouldn't know. You wouldn't know at all by driving it. Gosh, it's fantastic. It's so easy to place on the road. The steering is very, very light, but not too light, of course. Very, very smooth V6 that. It's rather muted, but just, is it serious though? Yes, it is. Effortless. That's what I would say about it. Effortless. The only thing is, it's got a little mirror on the mirror there that keeps distracting me because it looks a bit like a car overtaking me. The gear change is seamless, as you'd expect. It's just exceedingly well refined. I'm just very impressed. When we put it into sport mode, does that do anything? Foot down. Yep. It's not what you would call rapid, because it is, after all, although all aluminium, a very big car. There's an awful lot of weight for it to tug about. Then again, it's going to be one of those things where you think you're going quite slowly, but you're not. once you have a look at the speedo, because speed is deceptive in a car like this. It doesn't encourage you to drive in an irresponsible way anyway, because it is just a big wafty machine. I think this car is going to be absolutely at home doing 300 miles a day on the motorway. Very good steering. What else is it doesn't smoke? That thing they say, oh no poke without smoke nonsense. I mean, sure enough, there are plenty of really fast diesel cars out there that have been modified, but it's annoying, it's smelly, it's uncouth, it's non-gentlemanly. And I like to be gentlemanly, believe it or not. I am a gentleman. I'm a gentleman of the highest order, and that's why I'm driving this Jag. And that reminds me, you know, again, I'm back on this point. Why don't I have a Jag? A diesel Jag would suit me down to the ground. One of these would be perfect, but it's going to be a bit unlikely for a while. But it just feels so grown up. For me, I'm used to driving something that makes me feel like a silly boy. I would like the ultimate contrast to that. I've got my silly boy car, and then I've got my grown-up man car, which I will drive when I feel like being a grown-up man, which would be possibly once a week, maybe once a month, I don't know. But it'd be nice to have that choice. I'm just going to try out the heated seat, just to see how good it is. There's a Jag coming the other way, but I don't see any camaraderie between Jag drivers. Oh, it's getting nice and warm now. I didn't switch it off properly. I switched it down from 3 to 2 by accident, and now I'm too warm. In conclusion then, this is a great car. Do you know, I drive many a car and I like them, but very few I find myself thinking I actually want to buy one. And that is my conclusion. I've driven one of these before and I really liked it, and I've driven this one and I think I like it a bit more. Anyone got one for sale?